Hey guys, Marsingin here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so, global players, we are faced with a pretty tough decision. This has probably been one of the busiest end of year periods that we've seen for the last couple of years, because with the addition of the Gamma 1 and 2 kind of coming in a place where there wasn't really a unit like previously, this has definitely made it so there are quite a lot of things that you have to consider summoning for when it comes to these last couple of months of the year. So obviously in this video we are going to be talking about whether or not I think you should summon on the Gamma 1 and 2 Dokkan Festival banner, various reasons why or why not, going over not only the banner itself but of course the things that are also going to be coming out very soon. You know, a couple of big things like heroes, which obviously there's been a lot of hype around since the reveals coming out in the last few days, and of course a very special LR that's been on the back burner that a lot of people have been focusing on. A lot of people have avoided going in crazy deep, even on things like the worldwide celebration, in order to summon for them when they come to global, which is of course the LR, Vegeta and Trunks. So just to clarify straight away, as I often mention at the start of these summon or skip videos, this advice is primarily aimed towards people who have to be smart about their summons, right? So either you're free to play or you just don't spend a lot of money. Maybe you buy like a few of the sale packs, but not all of them, or something like that, right? Somebody in that sort of region. Because if you're a massive whale, even if you're not as big of a whale as like some YouTubers and stuff, you're probably still going to throw at least some summons at pretty much every banner, right? There are people that will do that, and obviously there are people out there, you know, even if you are free to play or spend a little bit, who've already solidly made up their mind that they're going to skip or something like that. So obviously for those kind of people, probably not going to be persuaded by any of the arguments here, or maybe you will. I don't know, let me know down below. Maybe you were thinking of skipping, or you were thinking of definitely summoning. Maybe this video changed your mind. But yeah, mostly it's for people who are on the fence, who want to weigh up their options, and I'm going to try and give you guys as much information as at least we have at the moment. So this is the Gamma Dokkan Festival banner as it appeared on JP. Now, straight away I will say I would expect the banner to be the same on global, but obviously we have no guarantees. Now, with them releasing so close together, like literally a week apart, I don't really see a reason why the banner would change. Because like realistically, in the best case scenario, in a perfect world, this banner would have just come out on the same time on both versions, right? So there would have been no reason for it to be different. It was delayed a week for whatever reason, right? The Halloween banner for global, the Peppy Gals double rates banner, like for whatever reason they decided to drop all that stuff and delay this banner for a week. I'm sure most people would agree. We probably would have preferred for this to come out at the same time. However, that has given us the opportunity to see what these guys are like in game. So I went over the details in the news announcement in full detail, so I'm not going to go over like reading the entire thing here, but essentially all you really need to know is Gamma 1 and 2 are essentially the two best TURs in the game, especially for global when we don't have Kid Goku, the physical path to power Kid Goku. So Gamma 1 and 2 are pretty much the two best TURs in the game. They obviously work super well together. Now ideally you want to try and pull both, but even if you only pull one, you obviously then have the potential to use the other one as a friend, build their team, and then obviously you can run the rotation with the two of them together and run the opposite rotation as something else. So the main thing you really need to know is the fact that Gamma 1 is the tank, right? He builds up damage reduction, he has guard for the early turns, and then Gamma 2 is the damage dealer. He basically gets a chance to do additionals early on, and then he builds up crit chance. With his full passive activated, because you can start proccing his extra attack from this later part of his passive before the first part of his passive has run out. I've seen clips of him doing like 5 super attacks in one turn. So the sheer amount of damage that he can put out is absolutely insane. And because he raises defense on every attack, or every super attack, his defense can actually build up to being a very high level. Now, I don't think I've seen any clips. I don't think he can tank a super from Cell Max because of type disadvantage. But obviously his defense can build up to being very, very high, to the point where he can take double-digit damage from like most red zone bosses, which is pretty crazy. So very, very strong combo, very powerful 2 units to run together. But of course, the main thing to consider is the rest of the banner itself. Now, I mentioned this again in the news video. I talked about it on Twitter when it came out on JP. I personally don't think the banner is that great based on current value. So the tech androids do get a bit of a new lease of life with the release of the Gammas, right? Because they go on their team. I believe they're under their 200% leader skill as well. So obviously it's another team that you can run them on. They've started to age a bit. I think what will really bring them back into prominence is they just need another like really, really good, like solid link partner, potentially who is like a slot 1 unit, because you have to pick up the right amount of orbs for them to be good defensively. And then, of course, they are better defensively after they super. So whilst they could sort of hold it down in slot 1 if you got enough orbs, it's not really the ideal slot for them. And then since their best link partner is usually, on most like scenarios where you're running them, 19 and Giro, who are not really a slot 1 unit either and are also a support unit, so they're also kind of buffing these guys and making them look better than they are if you were running them linked up with someone else. They kind of need a new unit who, I guess, does all of those things, right? Is a slot 1 unit that is also a support. And then these guys could potentially look crazy. And then Tech Gohan, obviously, all memes aside, he is still, of course, a very usable unit in a lot of the most difficult content. Pretty much all of it, to be fair, right? As long as he gets a decent enough amount of time to build up, he can tank most attacks, right? But then the rest of the banner, it kind of comes down to like future value. And this is what I had a lot of people trying to tell me on Twitter when they were trying to say that the banner is good, is the fact that we got Physical Piccolo, AGL Android 13 and Physical Broly. Now, Piccolo or Android 13, or I guess Broly to be fair, I was going to say any of these guys could easy A at any time, because I was mainly going to say Piccolo and 13 just because of the timing, but Dokkan has shown recently that they will easy A units out of order if it fits the theme of the celebration. So obviously we could see like the next celebration on JP could be Broly related, and then this Broly's getting an easy A, which would then obviously add value to this banner, although obviously Global would have to wait a while for that. But the thing is, like, that is obviously a factor, but A, their easy A's could be terrible, which would suck, of course. And then B, like, the future value doesn't matter for the current value. So, like, if you have all of these units, let's say you have all of these units, maybe you don't have dupes, maybe you have 1 or 2. There's no real reason why you need to pull any extra copies of these units at the moment. Because Piccolo, 13 and Broly basically don't see any play. Androids, you might use them a bit more, so I guess having dupes in them would be good. And then Gohan, I mean, if you don't have dupes in him, obviously it would be good to get him because he is still usable. But he's been out for a very long time now, been on a lot of banners. I would imagine most people, obviously if you're newer or, you know, free to play, whatever, maybe you don't have him. But this is one of those situations which we often find ourselves in with like legendary summon banners for like the yellow coin banners, where you pretty much only want to pull the new units and then just get the hell out of there. Because, as I said before, one thing we have to think about is everything that's going to come up next. So the next big thing that we should be expecting on Global is going to be this banner right here. Now, this banner could change. I don't think the Tanabata banner changed last year, though, so I wouldn't necessarily expect it. And so this is the release of the Vegeta and Trunks, one of the best units in the game, if not the best, depending on how you still want to rate units. I mean, when they come out on Global, the Worldwide Celebration units were the ones that people kind of were bringing into contention, which, of course, Global already got because it's same time celebration. But regardless of where you think they are in that hierarchy, Vegeta and Trunks are still one of the best units in the game. Now, of course, the big problem with this, well, not with the unit, with trying to get this unit, is this banner is also not great. So this AGL Goku Black, he's okay. But he needs a lot more support. Like that full Zamasu Goku Black team, like sort of blueprint, needs to get much better. But he's all right, I guess. But again, he's the new side banner units always go into the general pool, so no one's going to be summoning specifically for him. And then we have the previous Tanabata units. Obviously, we've got Gogeta, we've got the Blue Boys, Go Bros, we've got Goten and Trunks, Kale and Caulifla, and STR Kefla, Blue Kaioken Goku, and Ink Goku Black. So again, we're talking about like future value. So like these guys maybe will get an Easy A soon, the Go Bros. I imagine when they get an Easy A, they're going to be crazy. And then like STR Kefla, Ink Goku Black, STR Blue Kaioken, all varying on like being unusable without an Easy A. Physical Goten and Trunks, they can still be okay. And then obviously Tech Kale and Caulifla. Now they are on the Halloween banner, which is of course a global exclusive. So maybe we could see them being changed on this banner. But again, as I said, I probably wouldn't expect it necessarily. Now, Global will get ticket packs for this, I imagine, since we did last year. So that is something to bear in mind as well. But you've got to think about how soon this banner is going to come out as well. Because if we look at the Tech Gogeta from the previous year, he released on Global on the 4th of November. Now, bearing in mind, the time this video is going to go up, the banner's going to be out in like 12 hours. So for me, that is the morning of the 28th. If this was to come out on the 4th again, that's literally 1 week later. So we would be getting the Gamma banner and then 1 week later getting the Vegeta and Trunks banner. Now, I could see, what with the gap, and we're going to talk about that in a moment, I could see them maybe delaying it like another week, right? So, for example, instead of coming out on the 4th, maybe they come out on the 11th or the 12th, like around that kind of time. And the reason I say that is when we look at the timeline for last year and we see November, these guys came out on the 4th with their banner. Then we had a couple of extra bits like some Easy A's like a week later. Then a couple more Easy A's and a new Super Battle Road stage a week later. And then the Heroes celebration. And this is, again, the big one that a lot of people are super hyped for. I've already seen a bunch of people saying they're just going to skip the banners for the Gammas for Heroes. However, if we look at this, like peppering in a couple of Easy A's and a Super Battle Road stage, it's not really enough content to carry us over for 3 weeks. So that's why I could see, with the Gamma banner dropping so late, I could see this time slot being pushed back like a week, right? So then we have the Gamma banner for 2 weeks, then we get this banner for 2 weeks, and then it's Heroes, right? I could see that being the timing. So that means maybe we get an extra week grace period. But worst case scenario, Vegeta and Trunks are coming out a week after the Gammas. So that is something that you obviously have to bear in mind when it comes to spending your stones. And then, of course, Heroes is at the end of November. So roughly around this time. Usually banners come out sort of like Thursday or Friday. So I would imagine instead of necessarily being the 25th this year... Actually, the 25th is Friday. So it could be the 24th, 25th, something like that. So, a lot of stuff jam-packed in to the end of the month here and then going on into November. Now, another thing to consider, and at the time of recording, this hasn't been confirmed yet by data download. So, obviously, I will put like a pinned comment or something if by the time the video goes up, we have had that extra information. But there is, of course, the possibility that Global will get exclusive ticket packs for this, as we very often do with these Dokkan Fest banners. I wouldn't necessarily expect discounts, just because, again, like, the banner is literally coming out a week after JP. I feel like they're not going to make a huge amount of changes and essentially treat it as if it was a same-time release, right? It just got pushed back by a week. And when that happens, we don't normally get, like, discounts on the global banner but not on the JP one. It has happened before, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily get my hopes up for both. But I do expect a ticket pack of some kind for this banner. Could be wrong, but again, if we know by the time this video is going up, I'll let you guys know as a pinned comment. And then, of course, we should get ticket packs for this as well. And then Heroes is a same time event, and you know, there's no ticket packs, but you get things like the Heroes version of like the Red Stone, which is only for purchasing, that lets you pick out units. And yeah, the Heroes celebration is going to be very hype, potentially the best Heroes celebration ever, considering all of the new stuff that we already know and all the stuff that could potentially come. I did a speculation video about that a little while ago. You should check that out. Thinking about things like getting a Heroes Red Zone, all this kind of stuff, which would be very cool. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and the big question is going to come down to, like, what do you feel like you need the most? Now, the Cell Max update comes out at the same time as this, with missions for beating it with an artificial lifeform team and a special pose team. If you pull the Gammas, you can destroy those missions with ease, which is, I guess, part of the point, right? They want you to summon for them. But you can beat those missions without the Gammas. I've seen screenshots of people doing it, even, you know, without, like, fully Rainbow level 10 Lynx teams. It just is a bit on the difficult side, obviously. But those units all do added damage now. So I have seen runs of it done without the Gammas, so you don't need them. And then the other thing you have to bear in mind is, because these guys are like the first superhero, like, summonable units, it's very likely, unless they literally plan to drop it in like a month or so, when we get the next superhero summonable units, like say they do a dual Dokkan Fest for Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo, it seems quite likely that these units will return on that banner, even if it's not that far away, because the example that people cited in the past was Physical Goku Black came out, and then like a month later he was featured on AGL Rosé's banner. So it is possible that, let's say, best case scenario, because I kind of want this to happen, even though it adds even more stuff that we have to summon for the end of the year, but a same time New Year dual Dokkan Fest for Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo. Only because, as much as I don't want to have more and more things I have to summon for at the end of this year, I really don't want the superhero stuff to come out on JP and then have to wait months for it to come out on Global. Like, waiting a week for the Gammas was already kind of annoying. I don't want to have to wait longer than that. So it all depends, right? So that's one thing you've got to bear in mind, is these guys could potentially come back very quickly. And then, of course, the Vegeta and Trunks, they will return on the Saiyan Day banner. So if you don't pull them from their initial banner, we will get that Christmas banner in December as well, which is going to have these guys as well as the 7-year LRs featured, the Gods and the Super Saiyan 4s. Not a great banner because it has tons of featured units, right? It has like almost every Dokkan Fest exclusive. So that's not a good banner to sink tons of stones into. But for people that have been saving up their red coins, that's when you can buy the Gods and the Super Saiyan 4s. But these guys will be available with coins in March, which is quite a while away. But obviously, depending on your box, depending how lucky you've got in the last few months, you don't necessarily need this unit. And then, of course, Heroes is going to be at the end of November. So there is a lot to consider, my friends. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. What are your plans? What are you going to do? What banner intrigues you the most? What one are you most hyped to summon for? Obviously, for me, Heroes is always like the most hyped thing of the year. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Other people are free to not like Heroes. Don't summon on it if you don't want to. You know, but I'm super hyped. I am going to rainbow all the new units. I've been saving up all my keys so I can instantly link level 10 them all. So for me, I'm very much thinking about, like, I will be live streaming summons for these guys when the banner comes out. But unless I get super, super lucky right at the start, I am basically planning to just get one copy of each of these guys and then dip, because obviously as a content creator, I want them to make videos, and then I want to pull Vegeta and Trunks to make videos. So I kind of have to summon on everything. So I'm hoping it's going to be as painless as possible. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Are you going to summon on the banners? Which ones? Are you going to only summon if there's tickets? Are you going all in on one and skipping another? Let me know everything, all your thoughts and plans down below in the comment section. And if you are summoning, regardless of which banner, I hope you do get good luck. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.